Hello. Welcome to another show. Hey, today, co-hosting with me is Christine.
Hello.
We have our special guest, Anita Stump with the Bullitt County Chamber.
Hi.
So happy to have you today.
Thank you.
It's exciting. I love doing this, and I love it whenever you can come on and tell us about what's happening in the community. I think that's really great.
Yeah, Anita is a real gem. Like, she is an extra special guest because I feel like you've got your hands in just about everything. You do so much behind the scenes, and I'm so glad to share it with people.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Something that we were kind of giving an overview of how the show works before we got started. So I don't know any spoilers, but I was saying I wanted to kind of establish, like, first of all, who you are for anybody who doesn't know, and are you native Bullitt County? And so maybe start there.
Okay. Yes. I grew up in Claremont, and my mother, she had several different jobs, so we moved around a little bit, but for the most part, we were in Claremont most of my life. So it always is a pleasure for me to tell people that my very first job was standing outside the guard shack at Jim Beam selling the Grit newspaper. Now, if you all don't know what the Grit newspaper is, I'm probably aging myself. But yeah, so we, where the church is, right there by the cemetery. So that gravel road used to be just about my whole family lived back there.
Really?
Yeah. And that little brick church used to not be brick. It was just a little old wood church. And when I went there, it did not have indoor plumbing. It does now have plumbing, but now I'm really telling how old I am. But yeah, that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
And that cemetery, that's where all my family is. Mm-hmm. A lot of the homes that were there, well, including all of the homes that our family had back there, they're all gone now. My grandparents had a farm back there, and when my grandfather got sick, my grandma had to sell the farm at auction, and Beam actually bought it.
Oh, wow.
So Baker Beam lived in it for a little while,
Really?
but they've since torn it all down. And like my great-grandparents had a house back there. It was the closest to the church.
Wow.
Now, all of the homes back there, I think, are gone now. But,
Wow.
but yeah, I learned to ride my 10-speed bike on the hill right there by where the kitchen table is now.
Really?
Which, that hill has shrunk because when I was a kid...
I don't know, because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I mean, it did seem like a much bigger hill back then, but I learned to ride my skateboard.
Wow.
Back there in the parking lots, where all the employees park.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I grew up.
I mean, that's as Bullitt County as it comes.
Yeah.
It really is.
And it's funny because, in my adult life, my young adult life, I moved away. I mean, just... over the county line, moved to Jefferson County for a while.
That's a way.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But there was a period of time that I wasn't around. So then when I moved back to Bullitt County, a lot of people had no idea who I was. So a lot of people, when I started working at the Y, they didn't realize that I was from Bullitt County. And then when I started working for the chamber, that's when it was really like, who is this?
Yeah.
This girl that's running the chamber that, a lot of people thought, who is she? She's not even from Bullitt County, but they, of course they found out that I was. Yeah. So,
yeah. Well, let's talk about that. So you're the executive director of the chamber. How long have you been with the chamber?
I left the Y on January 31st, 2018 and started the chamber February 1st. Yeah. So,
wow.
And I started as the executive director, and I am now CEO.
Nice.
Yes.
I thought I'd throw that out there.
I'm so glad you corrected me. I forgot. I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Chamber CEO, Anita Stump. I love it.
So, and the reason they changed my title is because I went through IOM, which is Institute for Organization Management. It's a 4-year commitment. So it's once a year, you go, and it is literally drinking from a fire hose for a whole week.
Yeah.
And I went, they have an institute in each end of the United States or each section. And I went to the Southeast, which was Athens, Georgia.
Okay.
And I started the chamber in 2018, and I started IOM in 2019. So I had 1 year.
Yeah.
And actually, it's IOM is a great experience. People love it. But I was registered, and it's in June. Well, I lost my mom on June 15th, 2019. The very next week was IOM.
Yeah.
And I still went.
Yeah.
but I didn't have that.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I learned a lot. It was great, but I
Yeah.
didn't form those bonds that a
Yeah.
lot of other people formed because I wasn't hanging out with all the class at night and everything because
You were
I was
grieving.
I was just in my room grieving.
Yeah.
So, and then COVID happened. I hate to even bring that up, but so 2020 we didn't get to have a class.
Yeah.
So then in 21 I went twice that year.
I see. So they
So-
postponed it entirely during
Yeah.
COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, or maybe it was we went in 21 and then I ended up graduating in 23. Yeah.
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 So, but after graduating IOM, that's why now when you see my name tag, which I don't have on right now, it says Anita Stump, IOM. Yeah. So I have those initials. behind my name.
Yes.
So basically what that means is I am certified to run any nonprofit.
That's amazing.
Oh, cool. Very
So-
cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And I think it's really symbolic of the growth that the chamber has experienced under your leadership. So we've been chamber members. We were chamber members a couple of years before
2016,
Anita joined.
About 2016, because
Yeah.
it was Jenny Estep, and then there was another guy.
There was
Alex.
Alex.
Alex was his
Yeah.
name.
That's so, we had been members for a little while before you joined. And so I feel like I've really seen the evolution of the
Oh,
chamber.
yeah, it's changed so
and I'm
much.
telling you, since you took over, it's like it went into hyperspeed.
Thank
You don't
you.
even recognize the chamber now compared to when we
it's,
joined.
It's
so.
completely different. And, you know,
Yeah.
one of the things that she was doing, I remember this was maybe pre-COVID, right around that time, was the when you would go out to people and you would do your lives, right?
Those were
Yes.
I always thought that was a pretty cool idea, right? Because now you're including people. One of the things that in the past, what people would say, even for me, it took a long time for it to seep through my brain. The chamber is what you put into it. Like if you just sign a paper and say I'm joining, and you don't ever go to a meeting, you don't ever show up, then it's easy to say, oh, the chamber does nothing for me, because you're not doing anything. But if you go to some luncheons, you meet some people, you grow with that, then you see the real benefits of the chamber and why we are involved with the chamber.
Yeah. And I tell people that a lot.
Yeah.
I try not to say you get out of it what you put into it, because even though, I mean, you just said that, and that's okay because you're a member, you can say that.
Right.
But I try not to say that. But then I have said to people, it's kind of like paying for a gym membership. If you don't go.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And hey, I am that person that pays for a gym membership and I don't go. So I feel
Right.
I can use that analogy.
Yes.
But you do.
Yeah.
You have to put something into it too.
Yeah. And
yeah.
the opportunities to participate now are so great compared to what it used to be. There truly is an opportunity for anybody, no matter what type of business they are.
Yes.
And I understand for a lot of really small shops, especially, it's like if I leave, my doors are closed, I'm not making money. Well, we've got morning mingles that are before a lot of people start work. We've got things in the evenings, I mean, there's so many. And I say we because I feel like I'm, and that's what the chamber wants you to feel like. I feel
Yeah.
like it's a family.
Yes,
and
it
when you
is.
truly get involved, you do have this sense of family. And I know that us being involved, we try to go to luncheons, we sponsor things when we can, and that has paid itself tenfold because people know us,
Yeah.
because of being involved in the chamber. So
Yeah.
anyway, I fly a very big flag for the chamber.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That made me think when you said that. I had something really good on my brain that I wanted to say.
Yeah. Was it about opportunities for different types of businesses?
I don't know. I think I had two things. I wanted to go back to reference the why.
Yes.
Because when you were talking about the growth that you've seen since you've been here. So I was with the Y for 20 years.
Yeah.
And probably my last 8 years at the Y, in my position, I had to be involved in community organizations. So I chose the chamber. And so I was an ambassador for the chamber for a long time. So that kind of made it made the transition from me going from membership director at the Y to the executive director of the chamber. It made that so much easier. And I was always, once I got involved, which after I went through Bullitt County leadership, and I did that, honestly, I don't remember if I did it in 2009 or 2010. That's up in the air because I can't find the records on those.
Oh, gosh.
But after going through leadership, that's when I really got strong in my involvement with
Yeah.
the chamber and became an ambassador. And I loved working as a volunteer. I loved
Yeah.
what I did for the chamber. So
Yeah.
every time there was a transition in staff, because I remember when it was Beth Cassidy, then it was
Yeah.
Key, Christy Key,
Oh, yeah.
then Frida, then Jenny, then Alex, and then of course me. But every time there would be a transition, I would always think, but honestly, I loved what I did at the Y too, and I thought that I would either die or retire at the Y. So,
Right.
But God has a way of changing your path sometimes.
When the time's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that as the membership director at the Y, because that's what it was, I was the membership director. So it's all about retention and growth and how to make our members see the value.
Right.
So I'm now looking back to my first few years, because I'm 6.5 years in now as the
Now
chamber
CEO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can look back now in those first few years and say, yes, I was the executive director, but I think I was a membership director.
You were.
But
You were.
that's what was my goal. We had cleaned up the records. Actually, Helen Hill did that before I came in, because there was a period of time where there was nobody. So Helen was the interim, and she had gotten all the membership records cleaned up. So it was a kind of a clean slate. We had 287 members when I came
bless her.
in, and now I think we're at 606.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Isn't that incredible?
that was my main focus, was retain those 287 and grow that number as quick as I can, because I wanted to be a rock
Because that's
star.
how you are. Yeah.
And so it was basically just putting those skills that I learned from the Y and making sure that all of these members that were still members were seeing the value, adding new value. Because that's the first thing I did, was evaluated, okay, how are these 287 people,
Yeah.
what are we doing for them? How, what's the value for them being a chamber member? And so just growing that, finding more ways to make them,
Yeah.
and not even more ways, but just voicing it, because there was, the chamber offered value,
Yeah.
but it wasn't marketed like that. It
Sure.
wasn't put out there like that.
Sure.
Nobody was saying this is the value.
Yeah.
So it was, a lot of it was things that were already being done.
Yeah.
But I was marketing it different. And then of course we did offer a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
A lot of your offerings have changed based on feedback, and I know that you're constantly gathering feedback on how you can better serve members, because the needs change. And I think that something that you'll learn every day, and I know you know this, you're not going to make everybody happy or meet everybody's needs, and so it's trying to find that sweet spot of covering as much as you can. Can you kind of tell me the benefits for like a small business joining the chamber, for some of these mom and pops? How do you talk to them?
yeah, well, and that is a little bit tougher, because a lot of these small businesses can't come to our luncheons. But like you said, we offer the morning mingles. Now we have a leads group, and that is something that meets early in the morning too. But also just sitting down with them and showing them we're not just networking, we're a resource.
Yeah.
We have so much more to offer. We have member-to-member discounts. We have, you can get a discount on health insurance. And something new that just made me think about a conversation that you and I had the other day is we have a solar member now
Yeah.
that there are grants out there that can fund up to 110%
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
a
it's pretty
small
exciting.
business. I know. And I thought, I'm just going to mention that because I know you're
Yeah.
interested in that too.
Yeah.
But there are so many things like that. And through your membership with us, and we are a member with the Kentucky Chamber, so that even offers more.
Right.
You can get discounts on health insurance, workers' comp. There's so many office supplies. There's so many ways out there that we can help our small businesses. And just making everyone aware that we are a resource. So
Yeah.
when you have a problem, instead of, it's like reach out to us immediately and say,
Right.
this is the issue that I'm having. Whether it's, maybe not political, but because, we have to remain nonpartisan.
Yeah.
But if there is a bill or something that's being worked on at the state or the federal level
Yeah.
even, and a business knows about it, reach out to us and let us know how, no, not that we're going to support everything. It
Right.
has to be something, again, that's nonpartisan, but if it's something that is going to affect
The business
all,
community.
all
yeah.
of the business community, then we will do our best to go to bat for our small businesses also.
Yeah. And to have the collective voice means so much more than having
Yes.
just one person. And it is important to talk to your representatives. But if you can go through the chamber too, the chamber can come back and say, hey, look, I've had 100 members reach out to me about this. And that makes somebody pay attention.
It does. And no matter who is in office,
Yeah.
we try to have a great relationship. And right now we do. We have a great relationship with all of our state and local legislators. We do Small Business Day at the Capitol, where right now, usually it's our board of directors. Last year we did, or actually this year, we did have one or two ambassadors go also. But that's something that is growing over time. We're actually thinking about having a Bullitt County Day at the Capitol.
Neat.
So we can open that up to any of our members.
Yeah.
But, and again, that's not being political. That is just an opportunity
Yeah.
for us to take some of our key members up, and not even key members, some of our members who are interested.
Yeah.
Our legislators love it
Yeah.
when we go to Frankfort and
Yeah.
they see us there, because then, how often do they get the support of Bullitt County and Frankfort
Right.
with them?
Right.
So that's just one way that
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that I wish more of our small businesses took advantage of. But again, I think it's just them not knowing,
Yeah.
and that's the hardest part is in my position is just making sure that everybody is aware of what the chamber is and what the chamber can do for them, which right now we are in. I mean, we've had a good staff team. I'm not saying anything bad about I've loved everybody that's worked
Yeah.
with me. But it's been a learning experience my whole 6.5 years,
Yes.
and there's been a lot of turnover because people have just filled in or,
Yeah.
just to get us to where we needed to be. But
Yeah.
right now we've got Kaylee. She's the office administrator, and then Kara is our membership finance manager. And we have 3 distinct different roles. So, Kaylee, she's the office administrator. She's working the front desk, answering the phones, scheduling events. She's kind of doing everything.
Yeah.
And then Kara's focusing on membership and finance. And that's opened me up to be able to focus more on things like making sure
High
that,
level.
making sure that we do have all the things laid out to show our members the value that they're going to get out of it. But things that I want to focus on are workforce development, because we hear that every day. We see
Yes.
that every day. There are so many businesses that don't have enough employees. And that's been a struggle for me my first 6 years is, okay, what are we doing to combat that? How are we
Yeah.
helping our businesses? As much as I hate to say it, for a few years, we were just putting their job postings out there on our website.
Yeah.
And, working with the school system a little bit, talking about the pathways and how the businesses are connecting with that. But now I'm really, the rest of this year, trying to focus on workforce development. There's a military hiring academy. There's a lot of people at Fort Knox who are trying to transition back into civilian life. And those will make great employees.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's like, okay, let the chamber be the bridge that is going to help get those retirees
Yeah.
coming out of Fort Knox back into civilian employment. And there's actually, through the DOD, I think, there is a program where they will pay for someone coming out of the military, I think 6 or 8 weeks to intern. So like
Oh, wow.
you could have a military person come in here and intern for you for 8 weeks, and you don't even have to pay them. The military will.
Wow.
And I have a guy right now, Danny, lives in Heritage Hill, and he's I met him at Workforce Development Conference last week,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. And then there's the Fairchance Academy. There are people out there,
They just
who
need
have
another
made a bad
shot.
decision. They might have a felony on their account.
Yeah.
Or on their
Yeah, on their record.
and
Yeah.
they just need a chance, and those people make good employees
Right.
because they know how hard it is to get a
Yeah.
job. So
Yeah.
those things, the Workforce Development, Military Hiring Academy, and Fair Chance Academy, those are things that I'm really going to be working a lot on the rest of this year. So you'll be
Yeah.
hearing a lot more about those.
I love it. And I think it's just another example of how the chamber often sees a need and then fills it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And that's an obvious need that your members will benefit from. And obviously the job seekers. So
Yeah.
I think that's great. It's a natural fit. I know there's been some other things that I feel like are legacy in the community that the chamber is behind that I don't think a lot of people realize. So I guess I'm bringing this up because I want to illustrate how the chamber benefits so many people, whether they have had their name on it or not. Kids Fest is something that comes to mind. And I know you guys don't manage it anymore, but I feel like that's such a tremendous legacy. I want to give you just a second because the chamber got that going.
Yes,
You
and
know?
that goes back many years, like way before me. I was a volunteer for that event with you,
Yeah.
many times,
Yeah.
many years before my coming into this role. Huge event, and lots of kids.
Yeah.
A great event for our small businesses too. Yeah, that was a tough decision
Yeah.
when we use the term, we gifted that
Yeah.
to the foundation. So one of the things when I took this position, and we had some turnover in our board, and we really sat down and said, okay, let's reevaluate our mission and make sure that everything that we're doing is tied into our mission.
Yes.
And I mean, you can find ways to tie just about anything
Right.
into your mission, especially when ours is very short and sweet, you know, to connect members, empower businesses, to strengthen our community. So, you know, Kids Fest, you can work that in there. But we really felt like, as a board, okay, there are so many things that we want to do, you know, more business events, and Kids Fest was a huge, it was a huge, still is a huge event,
it's
but it
very
took
huge.
a lot of time, and
Yeah.
and it was a great revenue generator also.
Yeah.
So I'm not discounting that at all. It was
Yeah.
it was a great event, and it was a big decision for us to say, okay, so that we can focus more time on events that are really going to help our businesses,
Yeah. The membership.
the membership, yeah.
Because that's what you are. You're a
Yeah.
membership organization. That's your purpose.
Yeah.
You know.
So who in this community does kid things? Who
Yeah.
focuses on things with kids and would benefit from that event more so
Right.
than the chamber?
Right.
Because it was, I mean, we had businesses come but we wasn't doing anything with that information after.
Yeah.
It was a one day,
Yeah.
you know, so that's when we offered to gift it to the Bullitt County Foundation for Excellence. And
Which is a great fit.
Yeah, because that's what they focus on
Yeah.
is kids and teachers. And
Yeah.
so we felt like that was a great fit for them, and they've done an amazing job with it
Yeah.
also. And I know this year, I just literally was talking to Luann Moore about it this morning, because we still have a booth there.
Yeah.
We still participate. And the first year, we actually still helped with it, but they're changing the hours this year from, I think, 9 to noon maybe.
Okay.
Instead of 10 to 2, because
Gotcha.
they feel like 9 to noon they'll get better attendance. And I think they still have spots for 4 booths, either
Okay.
4 or 7.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't remember if it's 4 or 7.
Yeah.
But they still need some vendors.
Yeah. So anybody that's trying to get in front of, you know, families. I know that in the past it was thousands of people that came through. I mean, I would bank on every bit of 1,000 at least, you know, people coming through there with young kids. So it is a great opportunity. But I think it's something that the community looks forward to every year because it's free. That's the other thing we didn't mention. If you're not familiar with it, it's a free community event. There's all kinds of outdoor games and tons of giveaways, and you know, and it connects people with resources too. Like the kids can have IDs made there. The police are usually there. They can get on a fire truck. Like it's just a really
really is.
neat thing.
And then the bike, they have a little bike
Yes, the
course
bike
to
course.
teach bike safety.
Yeah, and I just love it though because when I first started becoming more involved, and I was on the chamber board for a time, and that was one of my first committees was Kids Fest, and so it's near and dear to my heart. But I love seeing it continue to have life through the foundation. Knowing that the chamber did that and you gave that to the community, you know, and you guys have done that in other ways too. I know as a small business, you guys, anytime the small business week comes around, you know, you're always out there promoting that. And in the past, you've put together games and worked with the different cities to promote their small businesses. So,
Yeah, shop small is very big for our county.
Yeah.
And that's another challenge is because we're in the county seat, because we're here in Shepherdsville in the county seat, I really try to focus on the entire county.
Sure.
You know, and we have to put it out there as, okay, we email all of our members, you know,
Yeah.
send us what you're doing and we'll promote it the
Yeah.
entire week. We have, remember the Monopoly?
Yeah,
was
fun.
Not to be confused with Bulletopoly, by the way. If anybody wants a game, I still have plenty.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the Monopoly was so much fun.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun doing it. It was a ton of work because I made those scratch offs.
Yeah.
Like I literally bought those stickers and made all those scratch off boards. That was fun.
Yeah.
But that was my first few years too. There's no way I would try to do that now.
Well, it's hard. I mean, you have a small staff. You guys are all full time, but realistically, you are all constantly on.
Yes.
All three of
Yeah.
you are almost never off. And it's frankly amazing that you're able to get done what you can with a staff of 3. And so, you have to look at where sometimes things just got to go. And
Yeah.
I guess because I've seen it happen, I know all of that hard work that goes on behind the scenes to make some of this stuff happen. And yeah, that's all you guys. You do great.
I've got one. Where if you're, let's say, an average person, you're not a business owner. You're just a resident of the county. Whenever the chamber has events, they do have events that's open to the public.
Yeah.
Where would somebody find like that information?
On our event calendar. So anybody can go to our website, bulletchamber.org, and we have an event calendar on there. And we even have it so that all of the chamber events are highlighted in blue. So it's like the front page of the calendar. It's just a calendar. But every day you'll see all these different events. Our members, because they have, through the chamber, they have their own website, their member profile. Anything that they put in their member profile, like what you all put in your member profile, shows up on our website. So if you're having some sort of a customer special or whatever, if you're having anything here, you can put it on our event calendar and it'll show up. But our events are in blue, so that if somebody, say our first responder luncheon, you know, you were talking about events that we're kind of
legacy.
known for.
Yeah.
Our first responder luncheon, if you go into September now, you'll see that event is already on the computer or on the calendar and highlighted in blue. But any other, I'll tell you, a member who really takes advantage is Dance with Steve and Donna.
Yes.
And then I never say it right. Shaolin Kempo.
Yeah.
Yeah. They make sure that they get their events out there, their classes and all of that.
Yeah.
They're on our calendar.
Yeah.
So, but also our Facebook page. And then there's actually 2 Facebook pages out there. If you go to the old one, we just didn't have access to it.
Yeah.
We tried.
We tried so
hard to get rid of that page.
And we tried to have it taken down. Like after we accepted we wouldn't get access, we tried so hard to have it taken down. But
just
it's
didn't
still,
work.
It's still there.
But you can tell the difference between the old logo and the new. The old logo is the cityscape. It's
kind of blue and gold.
Yeah.
Dark blue and gold.
Yeah. And then in the new one, it is the blue and green.
Blue and green.
Yeah. But that's another great way to see our events. We do post them on there. But I mean, we have a lot of posts because, you know, we have different levels of membership and we have investors. So part of being an investor is you get a lot of social media networking. And so we're constantly doing posts to highlight those investors and everything too. So sometimes you have to look for the events because we don't always create an event,
Right.
which I feel like maybe we need to.
I could see it becoming hard to manage. I would
Yeah.
really maybe just do it for bullet chamber events.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll go
Right.
So,
crazy.
and of course, too, people's plans change, and they might tell you, put it on the calendar,
Yeah.
and then you show up at the Honey Brothers and find out
We
there's
are not targeting Honey Brothers for
We
the
are not-
record.
We are not targeting Honey Brothers. I showed up a week early for the ribbon cutting. But that's because somebody said, "Oh, the ribbon cutting." I was like, "Oh, I'll be there."
You know what? I think they actually did have one planned, but then
it wasn't
got
a chamber thing.
It wasn't a
No,
yeah.
the original one was not.
Yeah.
I know that's when because I called the chamber and I talked to Karen and I was like, "Hey, am I the only one doing the ribbon cutting? What's happening here? Am I even at the right place? What day is today?" And she's like, "Oh, that's not us." And I was like, "Oh, I've got it all backwards." But that was a thing where whenever there's a lot of different people, and you make a plan, but then those plans change. How do you get it and tell everybody
Yeah.
Plans have changed.
I think that's why it's so important too that you've worked hard to cultivate relationships with all the different mayors and judge executive and all the different people, because that way you are looped in.
Yeah.
Because there can be a lot of I don't want to say stepping on toes, but just a lot of times a lot of what you do overlaps.
Yeah.
And so it's good to be on the same page.
Yeah. And, speaking of that, we get a lot of calls, like what's going on with this city thing or that county thing or the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Or, and those are not things that the chamber, well, I think that's a misconception too, is a lot of people think that the chamber is a government, a part of county government, and we're not. We're a nonprofit. So, I was hired by a board of directors,
Right.
Which, I've even had people say, like in a feed on one of those All About pages,
Yes.
that Jerry Summers hired me. He did not hire me.
Right.
A board of directors hired me. So, yeah, but this is what I was thinking when you said that, I would encourage anybody to show up to our city council meetings,
Yes.
our fiscal
yeah.
court meetings, because they are so informative. And then you don't have to go to All About Shepherdsville, All
Right.
About Mount Washington,
Right.
All About Hillview. You don't have to go to those community pages where everybody in the county is posting what they've heard.
Yes.
You're actually going to get to go to a city council meeting and hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
And that's what I encourage anybody to do when they question me on whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something a little bit embarrassing, a little bit, mostly embarrassing.
For who?
Not really funny. But at 49 years old, myself here, I too was one of those people. I would, to me, I would stay away from back in my earlier days, way before I started. I always thought the chamber was a government thing.
Yeah.
And if you go talk to them, well, you might as well be talking to the IRS because, it took so much. It was, of course, Christine who's changed my life, but it's like,
In so many ways.
In more ways than one.
I was like, oh, it's not even a government thing at all. Matter of fact, it has nothing to do with that. It's just my own ignorance, But then after you learn what it actually is, then it's better.
Yeah. It's neat because I see the chamber's footprint just all over the community. Anytime a new business opens up, I know that you're right there in the thick of it. And I know that a lot of times businesses that are coming to the area, we have economic development, and that's Bob Fountain. He does a fantastic job. But I know a lot of times they think to reach out to you too, and that you can have a lot to do with bringing industry and business to the county. So it's a very important role.
Yeah, it is important. It's an important too that we all work together.
Yes.
Economic development, whether that's city economic development, county economic development, because all of our cities have their own little economic development.
Yeah.
Also, and then we have county economic development, and it's important that we all work together.
Yeah.
We say economic development brings them to the community, and then it's up to the chamber to try to engage them and keep them here.
Yeah.
So it's important that we all work together, and I do love it. Like if I do get a call, a year or so ago, I got a call from a developer that I don't know if it was the actual developer. It was like the broker for the developer,
Right.
was looking for space out here. And I worked with them, but I also took them over to meet Bob, so, but it's still, it's fun to be a part of that,
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're seeing what's happening or
Yeah.
what plans are that people are talking about. That's always exciting to me to say, oh, this is what we would like to do in the county. It's not happening today, but within the next 5 years, you're going to see a water park up here. That's been a thing that I've heard for a long time. I don't know if it's a real thing. Probably not, but you've not heard of any kind
Are
of
you
water
talking
park?
about the aquatic center?
No, there's supposed to be one that there was going to be a actual amusement water park that was going to be between Hillview and Shepherdsville, right off the expressway.
Oh, I'm not aware of that one.
Because it's not a real thing. That's why you don't get your information from Facebook.
You learned that on one of those All About pages.
Probably.
All about pages, So
Yeah.
And I should, to anybody listening, if you are an admin for one of those All About pages, I am sorry. I'm not trying to be, but you have a lot of people.
They know.
I think those
They
pages are
know.
great for getting some real information out there, but there's also, you have to know Just like it was one of those pages that, you know,
Yeah.
I've been the topic of one of those pages, and I'm not even sure why.
Exactly.
It was at the same time that they said that Jerry Summers hired me. So
Right.
You know, it's easy to sit at home and make up things and be like, oh, this is what's happening. And then you
Yeah.
got the convenience of the computers, be like, I'm going to say exactly how I feel.
Well, it's like that old game, the telephone,
Oh,
but
yeah,
except on
the
steroids, where
the
you
grapevine.
Well, you would whisper into each other's
Yeah.
ear, and it goes around
yeah.
the table, and it's like, did the last person at the table get the original
Right.
message, or did it get changed
Yeah.
over? You know, and it's just that on steroids because
Yeah,
it's
it's
like, oh, I think I might have read this somewhere. I'm just going to post it like it's fact.
Well, and sometimes it can start off like a legit thing, but somewhere along the chain,
Yeah.
somebody's like, I'm going to change it up myself. I'm going to embellish it. I'm going to
yeah.
change
Or I
all the
remember
words.
it wrong
I'm just
or
remembering
anything.
it all wrong, and then they spread that message off, and then you end up with a bunch of people that are just misinformed about a thing, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
apparently there's not going to be a amusement park.
I guess no,
Yeah, not that
no
I
water
know of.
park.
No, I
Sorry,
mean, we
Robin.
are going to have the aquatic center here in Shepherdsville,
Which
but
will be
not,
neat.
yeah.
which is super exciting.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
excited about that.
I'll tell you something else I'm excited about.
Tell me.
Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
I've heard, okay, where is this going to be?
Long John Silver's.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, I don't know if you've driven through there lately and saw that they've been, basically, it looks like they're gutting it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
When are they coming in?
I don't have an opening date yet. They joined the chamber though, which is so I know this to be a fact. They
Right.
joined the chamber and they gave me the address. I looked it up. It's Long John Silver's.
Yes.
So I can say that. There, a lot of times I will say this. A lot of times, concerning economic development, a lot of things are very private and they can't be talked about. I feel like that's more so with your big.
Yeah.
Your big box companies
Like
and
the Target.
those those kind of things, a lot of times those are more secretive, but we also have a Marshall's Steakhouse that's looking at the 245 area.
Nice.
Really?
It's right there around the exit.
Nice.
And I learned that at Fiscal Court.
See?
So, see.
From the horse's mouth.
And they actually, he was a guest at our luncheon a month or so ago. So I actually got to meet him. But we
Yeah.
did talk about that last week in Fiscal Court. So those are just some of the things that you can learn when
Yeah.
you show up for Fiscal Court or City Council meetings.
Yeah. I would say my message to any small business owner out there is if you're not a chamber member, check them out. You don't have to join right off the bat. Come to a luncheon, come to an event, come to a ribbon cutting, anything, and see what they're about.
Thank you for saying that. And that is one thing a lot of people say, okay, so you're the executive director, you're the CEO. What do you do? And a large part, well, this is what I used to say, but now I'm like, this is what we will do, and I have Kara do it.
Right, because that's delegation. That's what you're supposed to
I
do.
do it too, but we're connectors, and that's the whole thing about our mission, connecting members and empowering businesses. And that's what I tell a lot of people when I'm prospecting, or if I'm sitting down, somebody says, why should I join the chamber? Or they might say, well, I really don't have a lot of business in Bullitt County. Well, who do you want to do business with in
Yeah.
Bullitt County? Because that's what I'm going to do, what we're going to do as a new member. We're going to try to introduce you to those people. If you want to do business with, like I recently had a company join, and he was like, I'd really like to try to get into somebody in the city. And he now has a contract with the city, so it's just,
Yeah.
we will help you if you tell us what you need. Obviously there's 3 of us and 600 plus members.
Right.
So you have to let us know what your need is. You have to let us know what we can do for you to help your business go forward.
Yeah.
Or to help you see growth.
Yeah.
We're not mind readers. So that's my main thing is, and y'all have probably heard me say something similar to that at a luncheon, because we try to say that all of the time.
Yeah.
And something else I want to throw out there, I don't know how much more time we have, but you were talking about, Robbie, about how I used to go around. So Tune In Tuesday, we still do that. And I have delegated that over to Kara now. And if you all have not watched today's, you need to watch it, because she was at the trucking Mid-America truck place in Stream Transportation, all that there in Brooks.
Okay.
And she actually drove on the simulator.
Wow.
It was so funny. It was just comical. Like even in the comments, because Dave Leitner, he's on there, and he's like, you just ran me off the road.
Oh,
And
no.
it was funny. I said, I see palm trees. Come back and get me.
Right. I love it.
But that was fun when I first started. Of course, I started in February, and I had that idea of Wednesday whereabouts. And it was nasty. It was snowing. morning, and I was out in my snow boots
Yeah.
and an umbrella, walking and taking pictures and visiting as many members right here around Shepherdsville as I could.
Yeah.
Because it was fun to just go. And back then, I would take pictures of everywhere I went,
Right.
and then put together a video at the end of the day of all the different members that I had visited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? And that hard work and that getting out in the snow, getting out has obviously paid dividends in itself with the growth of 3 times the growth as it
Yeah.
was when you first got there. I mean, it's
Incredible.
it's pretty incredible. I mean, that's what's about that. Put in that time and
Yeah.
you did an awesome job. You are a rock star, by the way.
Thank you.
I want to say that.
I
Thank
agree.
you. You know, one other thing, I'm sorry, now I'm
No,
tooting
we're-
my own horn.
Toot away.
Because back then we had 3, which we called them corporate sponsors back then. You know, we had the platinum,
Yeah.
diamond, or not diamond we have now.
Right.
Bronze, silver, gold,
Gold.
and platinum.
Yes.
And we had 4 for a total of $18,000.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to, at every ribbon cutting, I would say, we want to thank and I would call them by name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, there's no way to do that now.
No.
We have so many.
I know.
That's awesome.
So that's one thing I'm super proud of too.
Yeah.
That these people see the value and they
Exactly.
choose to invest and let us do that for them.
Yeah.
They're great partners. So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
as you all are too.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you,
partners.
thank
I
you.
so appreciate you coming on and telling us
It's been fun.
all the fun growth that the chamber's had.
Hey, one more thing here before we go. Let's say again, what was the website?
bulletchamber.org. And then our Facebook page is Bullitt County Chamber of Commerce, and the logo it's just the words, but it's in blue and green.
Yeah. It's just the Bullitt County Chamber logo and that's
No
all it is.
picture.
Right.
The old logo had that picture of a cityscape,
Yeah.
which didn't really even
I see.
represent us.
Because they can find, of course, y'all's posting all the information, like
Yes.
events and things like that, and that's been good. Did y'all do anything with the food trucks?
The food truck invasion, we did not. So Kaylee was out there. Her
Yeah.
parents have a food truck, so
Yeah.
she was out there. We have tried to do. We're trying to do stuff in each end
Yeah.
of the county. So Mount Washington, we had a booth at Spring Festival. We did do the Wine, Whiskey, and Ale Fest. Kara did a booth at that. So we've tried to,
Yeah.
Kaylee set up at Mount Washington, then I went up and closed that one down. We're trying to do some of these night and weekend things too, but
It's hard. It's like, when
It
are you
is,
supposed to
yeah.
sleep and have personal time?
Right.
You
Yeah,
got to
that's-
recharge or else
yeah.
you'll be good to nobody.
Is there any fun stuff coming up that you know about that you would want to share?
Well, the big thing we're working on right now is our golf scramble, which I mean that's fun, but it's not like a big fun thing for the
community.
I mean, there's just for community. I know this weekend is Blues, Brews, and Barbecue or
yes,
something. That's
yes.
the Ashley Phelps Foundation. They're doing that this weekend. I mean, there's always fun stuff going on.
Yeah.
Dance classes and things like that, which I would love to do some.
I know.
Dance
we need to go to
classes.
Dance and Steve and Donna and do
Yeah.
another. We did line dancing last time.
I would love. I love line dancing, and
Yeah.
that is a great workout.
I'm not really good at it, but I'm willing to fumble my way through it.
Yeah, I'm not good at it either, but it's kind of like singing. I'm not good at it either, but I'm a rock star in my car.
That's right.
I mean, if it's just a few of us that good friends, I'll burn that dance floor up.
I say we'll do it.
Yeah.
Hey, this weekend you're talking June 1st, 2024, right? This weekend.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you let me pull the calendar up.
Yeah.
Go to bulletchamber.org, Robbie.
Yeah. Someone
Let's
pass this over to her. She
see.
can. She's.
Is she quicker than you?
Oh, you get a little bit there.
typer.
Master typer.
Because I feel like there's, I mean, even if it's not on our calendar, the city, Amber Odell is doing an amazing job with all these events she's doing with the city, and I know Mount Washington has got things going on with their concerts in the park.
Yes.
And so there's all kinds of fun things to do. And then the City of Hillview Festival should be coming up soon too.
Yeah.
Nice. So all you got to do is just go to the bulletchamber.org
Yeah, see
events
all that-
calendar, and there's bingo and
Yeah,
everything
Options
else.
Unlimited does a great job too of putting their
Yes.
bingo on here.
And
The health department.
I think the American Legion does, I think they have like on Monday nights, they have bingo on Monday nights, and there's maybe once a month they do a midnight bingo.
Yeah, the Hillview City Fair is coming up on the
Yeah.
6th and 7th.
Yep.
Nice, very informative. That is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about.
Right.
That way, the message is out. The message is out. I know people that say, "Oh, there's nothing to do out here." I'm like, "Oh, we're just not looking in the
You're
right
not
place.
looking.
There's
Right.
tons of things to do."
There really is. And that's one thing that I can say about, the growth that we're seeing here in Shepherdsville. A lot of people, I know we won't get into that, but I know a lot of people are just frustrated that there's some changes going on. But I do believe that the current administration really does have the best interest.
Oh, yeah.
They really want to have things out here for our families too,
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
have to go to Nelson County or to Jefferson County or to Hardin County,
Right.
And those are things that excite me too, because I am one of those people that I will do everything within 10 miles of my home.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and of course, with the chamber being right downtown, I get really excited about the possibility of.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to have Oliver Pine Coffee and Wine.
I
There's
know.
going to be a shop that's going to have like a different craft activity every night. There's going to be a new ice cream shop
Yeah.
with freeze-dried candy toppings and stuff. I mean, there's just all kinds of new stuff that's
Yeah.
going to be happening downtown. And we have the new RDR Boutique down there.
Yes, which I have not been to, which I feel like is a total travesty. Like,
It
I need to
is.
get there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, a travesty is it being right next door to me.
Amen.
Anita, hey, I appreciate you. I
Thank you
appreciate you
all.
coming out here.
Thank you for coming and being on with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all for having me.
Thanks.